I'm Daniel Scott. I'm part of the product marketing team here at Sage in North America, and I'm very excited for everybody on the call today to hear what's happening with Sage eCommerce. I mean, this is, as Jeff mentioned, this is just one of the latest of our cloud-connected solutions, which is allowing us to bring additional value and functionality to our existing on-premise solutions with these best-of-breed cloud-connected applications. And we've been working with XM Developments, as Jeff mentioned, for many months now, and we've got a bunch of customers that are actually using this solution now. And in a minute, Stephen's going to explain, basically a little bit of a landscape, but also potentially why, if you have customers or if you are a customer looking to add a web front end, a digital extension of your Sage platform, why we firmly believe and we're convinced that Sage eCommerce provided by XM Developments is the solution of choice. So I won't take up any more time, and I will hand over to Stephen to explain why.
Great, thanks, Daniel, and welcome everyone. Thanks for spending time with us this afternoon. My name is Stephen Midgley. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for XM Developments, the publisher of Sage eCommerce. I'd also like to thank Will Booth, who's joining us as well. As Jeff mentioned, Will is the Business Solution Architect for DNA Business Management Solutions. And Will join us later in the session and talk a little bit about his experiences with e-commerce, with his client base, and specifically talk about some of the benefits of an integrated e-commerce solution. So I'm sure that will be interesting to everyone on the line. For today's session, we'll be covering a few topics. First, we'll talk about the B2B e-commerce landscape. And so we're going to set the stage and talk about some of the trends that we're seeing both in the industry as a whole and from our clients as it relates to B2B e-commerce. We'll talk a little bit about why integrated e-commerce and why the most important question you should be asking when looking at e-commerce is how does it integrate into Sage back office systems. We'll talk a little bit about XM and Sage eCommerce and talk about some of the features and benefits of Sage eCommerce for your customers. Then we'll turn it over to Will. Will's going to talk a little bit about the reseller perspective, his experiences with eCommerce. We'll wrap it up, and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end of the session. So first, let's talk about the B2B e-commerce landscape and set the stage of what we're seeing in the industry and how it's impacting your clients. So often when we think e-commerce, we think B2C, and that's primarily because we're all consumers of technology. Every day we use e-commerce in one way or another, and really we'll call it the Amazonification of society. We hear stories of Whole Foods, for example, and Amazon getting into that space, and how things are radically changing how we interact and use technology. The reality is that when we look at e-commerce, it's B2B that's the fastest growing segment of e-commerce. And by 2020, we expect the U.S. B2B e-commerce market to be worth $1 trillion, twice the size of the B2C e-commerce market. What's really important here, though, is that B2C, the elements of B2C e-commerce, is what's fueling the B2B trends. And so we keep a close eye on B2C because it really is indicative of what B2B e-commerce is going to be moving towards. So what's sort of driving this sort of significant growth? One, what we're seeing is channel shifting. We're seeing more buyers moving online. We're seeing more buyers becoming comfortable with using the online medium as a means of transacting. And once again, that's because of B2C. People are used to technology. They're comfortable with technology in increasing numbers. And so that transfers over to the B2B marketplace, where people expect to be able to transact online. In fact, 56% of B2B buyers today are now purchasing online. So more than half of B2B buyers are comfortable transacting and conducting business online. And 81% of those who have an e-commerce solution report a higher average order value for online transactions as opposed to offline. And the key driver for that is things like people who bought X also bought Y. being able to more easily cross-sell and upsell products. We've all seen it in our own individual experiences with Amazon, with bookstores, where you go online to buy a book or a product, and it says people who also bought this product also bought those products, so related items. So the online medium allows you to tailor the transaction more efficiently, allowing you to increase the average order value. And over 75% of purchases start with Google. We all use Google. We all are familiar with it. When we think search engine optimization or SEO, often we think of that as more of a B2C realm. The reality is that's as much to do with B2B as it is to do with.
And I think we may have lost Stephen here. Daniel, are you on? Can you hear Stephen at all?
I'm still on, but it sounds like Stephen fell off.
Okay. Do you want to ping him real quick? I don't know if he knows.
I'll do that right now, Jeff. Yeah, apologies everyone on the call. Stephen just fell off the line, so we'll get him back.
The joys of modern technology. Bear with us for one moment. Apologies.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you sound just fine.
Great. Okay, well, we'll get back at that. That just shows you that nothing actually goes according to plan. So here I was talking to an empty room. All right, so we'll get back to where we were. So talking about B2B e-commerce landscape and some of the trends, I think this is where I ended up, where the audio dropped off. So I'll go through the slide quickly. From a B2B e-commerce landscape perspective, we're seeing this rapid growth, and what is driving this growth? One is this channel shifting, and see what we're seeing is more buyers moving online, and the reason for that is buyers are becoming more comfortable with online technology. They use it in their personal lives, and that personal or B2C e-commerce use is transferring over to how they interact in the B2B world, and so we're seeing more and more buyers moving online. In fact, 56% or more than half of B2B buyers are now purchasing online. And so that really is a wake-up call for your clients in terms of the percentage of B2B buyers that are comfortable transacting online and expecting to be able to conduct business via e-commerce. 81% of those who do have e-commerce report a higher average order value for online transactions than offline transactions. And the reason for that is such techniques as related items. People who bought product X also bought product Y and Z. And we see that in the B2C world. We see that with Amazon. We see that with online bookstores, for example, where people who purchase this book also purchase these books. And so that technique, that trend is now being applied to the B2B world. And as a result, it's easier for you to customize the transaction because you understand who the person is who's buying from you and their buying behaviors. And so you can tailor the transaction to the individual. Over 75% of purchases start with Google. And so when we think of search engine optimization or Google, we often think of B2C. Most of us will begin a search with Google. The same applies to B2B, once again, because the B2C world is impacting how we do business in the B2B market. So SEO, search engine optimization, is a critical consideration when looking at e-commerce solutions. How is your client's sites being optimized? Is it searchable? How does it rank? There's certainly things like pay-per-click that your clients can invest in, but organic search plays an important role. And so when looking at e-commerce solutions, you need to look at things like the URL string, meta tags, H1 titles, page titles. And so you need to be able to have that consideration when looking at e-commerce solutions. And finally, B2B buyers are not loyal to poor websites. Because of technology, I think we all have adult onset ADHD. We can't focus very long. We get easily distracted. We're watching a movie at home. And what we find is we're on our iPad and we're doing research maybe about that movie, maybe about something else. And so we're multitasking constantly. And I think because of technology, we have a sense of it has to happen immediately. It has to be easy to use. because of B2C, we all use apps. We all have a sense of what's easy to use and what isn't. When I go to a website, you want to be able to make sure that it's easy to access, to be able to buy online. I have to go search for stuff, or it's a poorly built website, or it's not responsive design, meaning I can't look at it on a mobile device. Chances are they're going to go somewhere else. So these two numbers are very indicative of why B2B e-commerce is a must-have technology and why it's changing the landscape. Over the next few years, we're going to see a 64% growth in e-commerce in North America, and that's a significant number. And that's showing how it really is changing how we do business. So why am I sharing this data with you? Why is it important to you as a Sage reseller? Because simply put, it's important to your customers and prospects. Every industry is being shaped by e-commerce. Every industry is being changed and is looking at e-commerce as a way of transacting business. Your clients' customers are looking at e-commerce, are wanting e-commerce, and so the question is, are your customers, are they ready for e-commerce? And that's because e-commerce is a disruptive technology. It's changing how businesses interact with customers and partners and employees, and it's changing how they want to interact with you. And so really what we're undergoing now is this digital transformation. And the key word here is transformation, not so much digital. Whether your clients are ready or not, their business is undergoing this digital transformation, and this transformation is really a mind shift. It's a shift in how business is conducted with their partners, with their clients. It's also a shift in how they conduct business within their organizations. A seamless integrated e-commerce is as much a change in process and behavior with your clients' customers as it is within the clients themselves. And so this new digital reality is being driven by a number of factors that are all sort of a result of the consumerization of your prospects and customers. They're being driven by traditional B2C behaviors and how they're emerging into the B2B marketplace. As I mentioned, as individuals, we're all users or consumers of technology, and that traditional B2C mindset is transforming and really changing the B2B marketplace. Your clients' customers are more informed than ever before. They're adept at using technology. They're comfortable with technology. They expect the people they do business with to be able to provide technology solutions. They're UX experts. They use technology every day, and they have high expectations around usability. If they want to interact with you on a mobile device, they expect to be able to do that. They know what they want before they engage, and so they've done their research, and so chances are when they get to your client's site, they really know what they want, and they're well informed. And they're influenced by social. And so social media is a key component of e-commerce in terms of spreading the word, in terms of digital marketing, and social becomes an important cog in the go-to-market planning of your clients. And one example of how this B2C world is rapidly changing B2B is mobility. And the ubiquity of mobility is really today's reality. As I mentioned earlier, 56% of B2B buyers are shifting offline to online, and that number is only going to grow. What's also going to grow is the usage of mobility by your clients' employees, by their business partners, and by customers. In fact, in North America, 76% of people have made make an online purchase via a mobile device at least once per month, and that number will only grow. So what does that mean for your clients? It means a few things. It means that they need to have a responsive design website. So they need to have a site that scales to mobile devices, whether they be smartphones or tablets. Easy check. Have your clients go onto a mobile device to see if their site scales properly. Responsive design is critical. In the world of SEO, we talked about how SEO is an important cog in the B2B design and B2B e-commerce. Responsive design websites so sites built in HTML5 will rank higher organically than non-responsive design sites. Google places a lot of weight on sites that are designed to scale across multiple devices, as opposed to traditional traditional brochureware type sites that only work on a laptop or desktop. And so it's absolutely critical that your clients, when looking at e-commerce solutions, have a solution that scales for mobile devices. So the question is, are your customers ready? Do they have a responsive site? Do they allow their customers to purchase via a mobile device? And equally important, do they allow their employees to access customer information via a mobile device? We have a lot of clients who have a remote workforce who are on the road constantly and will log in onto an iPad before they go meet with the client to understand what their transaction history and the outstanding invoices. Equally, we have clients whose sales reps through a mobile device will go place orders on behalf of their clients. And so mobility isn't just a tool for your clients' customers. It's also a tool for your clients' employees to make them more effective and more efficient in how they do their job. So mobility is really important. It's a great example of how B2C is impacting B2B, yet the reality is in North America, only 48% of businesses have a mobile-ready web presence. So less than half of North American businesses have a mobile-ready web presence, yet 56% are buying online, and 76% of people are comfortable making a purchase via a mobile device. So there's a pretty big digital disconnect when it comes to mobility, and it's a key consideration when looking at e-commerce solutions. So we look at e-commerce, there's lots of options, there's lots of vendors out there, there's lots of noise about e-commerce. I think we can clearly state that and confidently state that e-commerce is a must-have technology. Every industry is being impacted by e-commerce. It's disruptive, it's changing the landscape, it's changing how customers want to interact. But when looking at e-commerce, the first and most important question you have to ask is, how does this integrate with my Sage platform? And that applies to any technology that your clients are looking at. The question is, how does it integrate with my Sage platform? Because in the Sage ecosystem, Sage really is the backbone of your client's business. It's a single version of the truth, and implementing non-integrated solutions creates disparate solutions within your organization. It means that different people are accessing different databases to make business decisions. What we want to make sure is that everything is integrated and seamless, and that's really what's critical when it comes to e-commerce. The ROI of integrated e-commerce is quite straightforward. This is a report from Aberdeen Group. B2B companies with integrated systems saw visitor buyer conversion rates of over 20% and a decrease of cart abandonment rates by 8.3%. And this allows customers to increase revenue and also while improving their business process optimization. And it's really obvious when you have an integrated solution, what that means is what the customer sees on the website, pricing, inventory on hand, SKU information, that's all being fed directly from the Sage system, whether it be Enterprise Management or 300 Cloud. And that's providing the client with real-time information and accurate information. When I go online, and when you go online to purchase, you expect the information you see on your website is accurate, that is a true reflection of what is on inventory or that is the correct price. And that's why integrated e-commerce is a critical, or is mission critical for businesses in 2018. 85% state that back office is important to the customer experience. Why? Because the back office or the Sage system is really that single version of the truth, and because of integrated e-commerce, what's updated into Sage is accurately reflected on the website. 60% state that integration with the back office is a key initiative, because integration means a better customer experience. A better customer experience means more loyal customers, and more loyal customers mean incremental revenue for your client's business. And 40% of buyers want more integration because they know that integration means more accurate information, means a better experience for them. At the end of the day, integrated e-commerce is all about the customer. It's all about the experience that they receive. So when we look at e-commerce, there's really two factors. One is driving incremental revenue. The second is realizing operating efficiencies. And when we look at e-commerce, there's the presentation layer and there's the integration. Often, people get hung up on presentation layer because we all see with our eyes. We all look at the visual impact, and the presentation layer is very important. The reality is that's really the easy part of e-commerce. The hard part is integration, and that's why 90% of B2B sites are not properly integrated with their ERP systems, because it's very difficult to do. And so when we look at e-commerce, we look at a few things. Do your clients have inconsistencies between back office and web? Do they have information on their website that's not accurate to what's in the Sage system? Do they spend time updating product information and pricing on their website? So when you make a change to a price in Sage 300 Cloud or Sage Enterprise Management, do your clients then have to go update that price on their website? Or do they have pricing at all on their website? On the flip side, when they get an order via the website, do they have to go key in that order into the Sage 300 Cloud or Enterprise Management System? At the end of the day, if you have clients that have to rekey orders into the Sage system, they don't have e-commerce. They may think they have e-commerce, but the reality is they don't have an integrated e-commerce system. They have a very disparate system that's not leveraging all the hard work and all that business logic that they have built into their Sage platform. So let's talk a little bit about Sage e-commerce. I talk about integrated solutions, and they're certainly critical in terms of when we look at integration, we look at bidirectional. There is the orders that come in from your e-commerce solution that feed directly into your Sage 300 Cloud or Sage Enterprise Management platform. And on the flip side, the reverse side, when an employee uploads a price or changes inventory, that information is directly reflected back into Sage e-commerce, into the platform. XM Developments is the maker of Sage e-commerce. We're a global company. We have over 200 customers with an annual transaction volume on our platform of over 500 million. We have customers that do as little as a few hundred transactions a month to customers that do over 250,000 transactions a month. We operate in over 10 countries, and we have over 1 million SKUs on the Sage e-commerce platform. So Sage e-commerce is the world's only certified e-commerce solution that's fully integrated with Sage. We enable customers to seamlessly extend the Sage platform to the digital world with secure and real-time connectivity. We look at Sage e-commerce in three areas. Insightful, so we provide real-time analytics for you to make decisions on your business. It's intuitive. Sage e-commerce is built for non-developers, so it was built for marketing staff, operations staff to be able to easily update and manage content, and it's fully integrated. And that integration is really what's critical. That's really what separates Sage e-commerce from other e-commerce solutions. Sage e-commerce is really the e-commerce engine for Sage that offers real-time order pricing and payment integration. It duplicates Sage Enterprise Management and Sage 300 Cloud business logic. It replicates more than 65 Sage Enterprise Management and Sage 300 Cloud database tables. It allows your clients to streamline their workflow, automation, business processes. It's highly scalable. It's cost-effective to maintain, providing your clients with a fast return on investment. And it's very easy to manage. It's also flexible in its presentation layer, allowing your clients to extend their individual brands to the digital world. What does Sage certification mean? Well, it's really three things. One, we went through a fairly vigorous process with Sage to do a deep dive analysis on the Sage e-commerce platform, validating our proven integration and security protocols, a commitment to future releases, and importantly, the software does what it's expected to do. And so because of the Sage certification, we have access to the Sage marketing teams, product teams, engineering teams, sales teams. And so we work very closely with those groups to ensure that what we're building is in alignment with Sage's vision and what Sage is building. So let's talk a little bit about customer success. I've talked about ROI, and I've talked about the fact that that it's quick ROI. What we see from our customers really is three common benefits derived from using Sage e-commerce. One, they're able to drive incremental revenue. They're able to drive incremental revenue because they're able to move more of their transactions online from offline, which allows them to tailor the transactions to the individual. The benefits of e-commerce allow you to do that, especially in B2B, allow you to tailor the transaction, whether it be tiered pricing, whether that being able to cross-sell additional products, whether that being able to move excess inventory. All this can be done very effectively through e-commerce. The second key benefit derived from Sage e-commerce is that being able to improve the customer experience by having accurate pricing. And so what that means is that the customers know when they come to Sage e-commerce, come to the e-commerce platform, that what they're seeing is a true reflection of what's actually within Sage. Pricing, inventory on hand, things like SKU information. So they're able to conduct transactions and have that peace of mind that they know that that transaction will get processed accurately. And third is the redeployment of staff. A common trait, common benefit that we see when we implement clients onto the Sage e-commerce platform is that they have staff that are rekeying orders into the Sage 300 Cloud or Sage Enterprise Management System. We just launched a client, for example, who was processing about 3,000 orders a month manually from their website. With Sage e-commerce, that is all gone, and that allows companies to redeploy staff to other mission-critical initiatives. So our onboarding process, we have a 5-step process. First step is a kickoff, and that's where we meet with the client to understand their business requirements and objectives, to review the proposal, and to ensure that we have a mutual understanding of what success looks like. From there, we do the configuration. Configuration is really connecting Sage e-commerce with the client's Sage solution, ensuring that that two-way integration is set up, that orders are flowing in from Sage e-commerce into the Sage 300 Cloud or Sage Enterprise Managed System, and equally, when we update pricing, or when the client updates pricing in their Sage solution, that is being reflected in Sage e-commerce. The third step is implementation. And this is really the bulk of the onboarding process. This is where we actually build out the e-commerce platform, provide tailored training so that the client fully understands how to use Sage e-commerce. The outcome of the implementation phase is that the client fully understands how Sage e-commerce works and can manage that e-commerce platform on their own. The fourth step is user acceptance testing. Nothing goes live until the client signs off on it. And so while we do testing along the way with the client, the fourth phase is really user acceptance testing, that the solution is operating as expected when we had the initial kickoff meeting. Once the client accepts the final product, then we go live. And go live can be right away, it can be a month out. It depends on the client. If they have an existing website that or e-commerce platform that they're moving off of, we may have to go through 301 redirects to make sure that everything will be redirected properly. For most of our clients, about 90–95% of our clients, Sage e-commerce becomes their entire web platform, not just the e-commerce portal, but their entire digital platform is built on Sage e-commerce. So I talked earlier about presentation layer and integration by far is the most critical aspect of e-commerce. And if there's one thing you can take away from this webinar is that the first question your clients must be asking when looking at an e-commerce solution is, how does it integrate into my Sage system? Because we've seen lots of examples of non-integrated solutions just not working. And at the end of the day, integration is all about the customer experience, about providing a high level of customer experience and a seamless experience, and being able to take all that business logic that you built into your Sage platform and applying it to the digital world, applying it to e-commerce platform. So integration is by far the most critical aspect when looking at e-commerce. A second aspect is the presentation layer, and that's uniquely important as well. It's important because the digital or the website is really a way to extend your brand online, and so you need to be able to have the flexibility, capability to be able to extend your brand online and present a unique and original presentation layer that's reflective of your business. So I'm just going to show some screenshots, some examples of some sites that show the capabilities of the Sage e-commerce. So LJ Smith, they do interior design, and obviously in that kind of business, you need a lot of flexibility in terms of how you present creatively. Another example of presentation layer, Bob Dale Gloves, which just went live about a month ago. Batteries Expert is an example of a multilingual site. They're based in Quebec, so this site is in both English and French. So some examples of presentation layers and creativity. So with that, what I want to do is hand it over to Will Booth, Business Solution Architect, who's going to share with you some of his experience with e-commerce and with integrated e-commerce. So Will, over to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Hello, everybody. As Stephen mentioned, my name is Will Booth. I'm a business solution architect and sales consultant here at DNA Business Management Solutions, and we're based in Ottawa. We support about over 400 customers in the Ontario, Eastern Ontario, and across Quebec, and various other areas across the country, and even some into the U.S., but our main area is Central Canada. We're a staff of 15 professionals. Most of them are Sage certified implementation professionals. We sell across many different areas, but we have a fairly large retail warehouse distribution client set. And of course, as the world has changed over the last many years and continuing to change, e-commerce is a big part of what they're thinking of doing, what they are doing, or what they should be doing. So, and I've been working for DNA for about 15 years, and we've been in business 25 years, and we're a bilingual support organization, and probably our key differentiator is we answer the phone when our clients calls, but also my main role here is to be the go-to person for integrated solutions on top of just the core Sage product set. So Sage 300 is our main accounting side, and of course Sage e-commerce is a core solution for our B2B and B2C customers moving forward with that. Stephen asked me and Jeff asked me to talk a little bit about some of the value that our clients are finding from e-commerce, or why they're asking for e-commerce. And of course, it's, you got to keep up with the Joneses, whether they be local or international or national competitors. So I think from our perspective, and Stephen's talked about this in the presentation, if you're not available on any device at any time when somebody searches, no matter who the client is, if it's somebody next door or down the street or in Vancouver or, or around the world, if you can't be found easily and quickly with a great user experience, proper pricing, and especially when we get into the integrated side, talking about, the customer experience on the ordering, the order processing, the payment, and then of course the fulfillment side, and even into the returns, the shipping and the returns. If you're not getting that, you're not going to get their business back. You may not get it in the first place because they're just going to go to Amazon or somebody else who's got a better site and who's available, and let's the client work on their time. So more and more clients are realizing this, either because, they're losing business, they're seeing, some of their longtime customers go elsewhere, and they're finding out that, I don't want to have to make a phone call to place an order and have a mistake because somebody keyed it wrong. I want to go when I need it. I want to go online. I want to see it. I want to order it, and I want to know when it's going to arrive and just click and see what's the waybill number when the product's going to arrive. When do I have to have somebody at the dock? Or it could be B2C, and it's just people just want to, they're checking Flip or they're checking some other solution. They want to see that your pricing is good, and if you have a non-integrated store, you're going to have problems with that. So the value of e-commerce, even for smaller businesses, is unless you get on board with current technology and let your clients move ahead and deal with you how they want to deal with you, you're going to lose them. So, it's becoming clear, and we promote that. Not everybody sees it, but the ones that do, they need to have an integrated solution, and that's one of the other areas that Stephen asked me to talk about. If you're got a web guru and he tells you, oh, you should get this store or that site or do this sort of thing, and I can program you a shopping cart and that'll be great, it'll only cost you this much, I guarantee you it probably isn't going to show up high on the search engines, at least not as high as with a professional, experienced organization like the team at Sage and Sage eCommerce. It's probably going to be fraught with errors, be it items and pricings and description. And it's probably, if you do start to get sales, the lack of integration is just going to make your administration costs for the order, rekeying, the fulfillment, the returns, they're just going to grow exponentially. So yes, you may pay a little more upfront to have a non-integrated store, and it may sound like a good idea, and somebody may tell you may integrate it, but we've had clients that spent literally thousands to tens of thousands of dollars trying to integrate their third-party site to their Sage platform with varying levels of success, usually non-success, and then they don't remember, they don't want to hear that the next time they have to do an upgrade to their accounting or the next time the web store platform gets upgraded, the integration's broken, I got to go through that all again. And in the meantime, my store is out of date, offline, what have you. They don't get that somebody is making sure that their pricing and their product information is correct and correct for the client. If they're a B2B company and they've got B2B customers, that those B2B customers are seeing the best price that they should see. If it's B2C, at least you know that you've got a web price that's being promoted that is getting you the proper price to the client. So you're making your proper margin on the back end, because no matter what people say, once you get rolling with this stuff, if it doesn't automatically flow to the website on an automated basis that your pricing and your items are up to date, somebody's going to order something and you're going to sell something or many things, and you're going to make a loss, and you're not going to know till the next month and how many of those sales would have happened. And I have clients that's happening. And so they're looking at this because, they may not seem like a big deal. Maybe it's only a couple $100 per item. But if you're getting 3 or 4 of those items a week, and now you're losing a few $100s on each one of those, how much more sales do you have to do to make up that price, let alone all the running around and trying to fix things and rekey stuff? You shouldn't be thinking about it. You shouldn't be thinking about currency. You shouldn't be thinking about which warehouse has the stuff, where do you go to, how do you rekey in the right shipping information so the client knows when it's going to arrive, to reduce phone calls into your call center. It's just not really a way to move forward in today's world, to have an unintegrated e-commerce site. And then you have some of the other issues. If it's a client that has sales reps or customer service reps that are either talking to people on the phone, they may not be in the accounting, or you don't want to spend extra expensive accounting users to have them logging into a system, or maybe they're traveling on the road, the Sage eCommerce solution will provide your sales reps with a sales reps portal so they can have one Bible to go to find the right information for those customers, just like customers are going to find on the website. Stephen also asked me to talk a little bit about working with XM Developments and the Sage eCommerce team specifically. We've worked with them for probably over 10 years. They know, obviously, they've been in business a long time. They're an international company. They know e-commerce. They know payments. They know search engine optimization. They know website design and responsive design and the platforms. They know how to take care of that. They know how to make them run fast, but they know Sage products, and that's probably the biggest thing. They know how a Sage product works. They're, as you can see from this meeting today, the teams are integrated between Sage and the Sage eCommerce teams. They know what's coming. The integration works. I never have to worry about it. I also know that working with as a salesperson and an architect person, working with the Sage eCommerce pre-sales team, I know that I'm going to get the answer, and it's not going to take long, and it's going to be the right answer. So we're not over-promising. They know what works. They know what works on the back-end side and what needs to be done to meet the client needs. So I don't have any concerns there. We never worry about what we're saying is correct because we've gotten the answer right from people that know how the systems will work together. I also never worry about the implementation. The Sage eCommerce team is great. We hand it over. I mean, they'll tell us, after their initial review and working with us and the client, if something needs to be updated, like maybe the client doesn't have any price list now or a web price list, or they need to clean up their accounts receivable customer list because now they're going to let their B2B and they're going to let clients come in and get their own pricing. If we need to clean up old items and decide which ones are going to show on the website, we work with them on that, but then they pretty much take everything from there. They get the sync working, they get the updating, they take care of the layout and the design and working with the clients. We never get calls saying, why did you do this? We get calls about how happy they are and how much easier it now is to fulfill orders and take orders and how happy they are. I don't have any problems recommending the Sage eCommerce team to anybody who's a Sage partner. This is this is what we promote, and this is what you should promote going forward. If you're not already doing today, you need to get on with somebody from Sage eCommerce and start looking at the product, see how the integration works for your Sage product, and move on, because I guarantee you won't have an issue. Is there anything else, Stephen, that that I didn't cover? Hope that was it.
I think that's great, Will.
I really recommend that you have a chat with Stephen, and if you haven't looked at it before, do it soon.
Thanks, Will.
No problem.
So let's we have some time for some questions. So let's just do a quick recap on some of the benefits of Sage eCommerce. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, and as Will talked about, the real key takeaway here from the session is really, in one word, integration, and the benefits of an integrated e-commerce solution. And for your clients that are using Sage, any technology that they're looking, or any adjacent technology that they're looking at, it really should, the question should be, and the first question is, how does it integrate with my Sage 300 Cloud or Sage Enterprise Management solution? Integration really is all about customer experience, and customer experience is critical. And so your clients need to be looking at e-commerce. They need to be looking at how it integrates with the Sage system. E-commerce is certainly a must-have technology. It's disrupting. It's changing how your clients, customers are interacting and how they expect to interact. And so they need to be able to address that sort of changing landscape. Some of the benefits of Sage eCommerce that we've covered in the session: site creation can be done in hours. A typical Sage 300 Cloud implementation is about 3 months start to finish, using that 5-step onboarding process. For Sage Enterprise Management, it's usually a bit longer. That's because they tend to be more complex implementations. We have built-in responsive web design themes, and so allows you to scale to that mobile world, allows you to improve your natural or organic search rankings. It's out-of-the-box, real-time two-way integration. That's not an add-on feature. That is how the product works. It's built into the product, that bi-directional or two-way integration. Orders flowing from Sage eCommerce into your client Sage platform, pricing, inventory information, other business logic flowing directly from Sage 300 Cloud Enterprise Management into Sage eCommerce. So it replicates all that business logic. And you think about your clients, how much effort that goes into building the Sage system and the logic that goes into it and all that work. All that logic is seamlessly replicated into Sage eCommerce. That means that real-time orders and payment integration exists out of the box with Sage eCommerce. It's cost-effective to maintain. As I talked about with our clients, three benefits: driving incremental revenue, improved operating efficiencies, and being able to redeploy staff to work on other mission-critical initiatives. It scales without additional customization. Because Sage eCommerce is a SaaS solution, it's in the cloud. As we roll out new features, all of our customers benefit from those features, and so there's no need to do upgrades of the Sage eCommerce platform. Those new features seamlessly roll out to new clients. If your clients are upgrading to a new version of Sage Enterprise Management or Sage 300 Cloud, that is about a 30-minute piece of work for your clients just to make those modifications to Sage eCommerce. So it's very easy scalability when it comes to new versions of Sage 300 Cloud Enterprise Management. And it streamlines business processes. And so I think when you look at eCommerce, it's disruptive, it's a mind shift, it changes how they're interacting with their clients, but it also changes how they work internally. And so eCommerce, integrated eCommerce, allows for that end-to-end digital experience from the customer all the way through to the Sage implementation.